Größen Tzaddik.
We talked about carrying out a food in a kli, and you're chayiv. It said chayiv. So we asked, how could you be chayiv shtayim? It's like eating 2 pieces of chaylev elam echad. So the Gemara answered, he was amazing on the kli, and you only bring a korban for the food that he was a shogeg on. Maski Ravashi v'hai afala kli ktani. It says very clearly, chayiv afala kli. You can't be mataritz the way you were mataritz. Ravashi, he was a shogeg by both, but the noida lo the chazer v'noida. First, he didn't know that there was a problem with the food. They didn't know that there was a problem with the kli. 2 different shogegs, 2 different alamas. Ubeplukted Rabbi Yochanan Rav Shimon Lakish, Machlokes Rav Shimon Lakish regarding this very issue, whether Yedios knowledge about this are mechalkos to 1 chatas or to 2 chatas. And our Mishnah is like the one that says it's mechalkos to 2 chatas. Then the Mishnah said, as a chayba mita, if you took a live person out on a bed, so chai noses atzmo, a living person will make himself lighter. So in a sense, it's not a full malacha. When you carry dead weight, that's malacha. But if someone lightens himself, you don't fulfill the criteria of malacha of carry. So lema masnisin abnosin ivelo rabban. Based on this stock in the Mishnah, the Gemara wants to say that our Mishnah is Rabnos, the Tanya. If you carry an animal or a bird into Rishus HaRabim from Rishus HaYachid, bein chayin ubein shchutin chayiv. Here, it's whether they're alive or whether they're dead, you're chayiv. Rab Nosson Omer, al shchutin chayiv, al chayin pot. Live animals will try to adjust themselves to make themselves lighter. So chay noses atzmo. So you only be chayiv for shchuti, for a dead animal, not a live animal. Shechay noses atzmo. So the Gemara wants to say, well, our Mishnah, which says basically the same thing, must be Rab Nosson and not the Chachamim, where the Chachamim said you would also be chayiv for carrying out a live animal. Omer Rav afilu temer Rabbanon. No, Rav says our Mishnah could also be learned according to Rabbanon. Because Ad can let Rabbanon laid Rab Nosson. When do the Chachamim argue? El b'vei machayev often mishar b'tin nafshayu. They are trying to get out of the mishamtim klapi mata. They make themselves actually heavier when they're alive. And therefore, because they're trying to get away from the person who's holding them. So that's why the Chachamim over there, by an animal, holds that you're chayav even for a live animal. Aval odom chayav sisatzmo afil rabbanon modu. But the Chacham, a live person who's being carried by another person, he's not trying to get out of the arms of the person who's carrying him. He's trying, if anything, to lighten his load by adjusting his weight. So there they would agree that by human being you would be potter if he is alive. Ben Beseira Matir Basus. So there is a prohibition of selling an animal to a goy, because he might then sell it to a Jew, and there's an issue. You cannot use the animal for malach on Shabbos. Because of he might rent it, he might loan it to a Jew. But a sus, the malacha that a sus does, you ride on a horse. And riding on a horse is not a chiyuv d'oraisa, it's only a drabono. Riding is only a rabbinic prohibition. So, Hadistan Bemser Matibasu Bemser permitted you to sell a horse to a goy. Tani Bemser Matibasus. They should also be malacha she'en chanochatas. Because even if the goy is going to loan it or rent it to a Jew, the malacha that a Jew is going to do with it is not a chayav chatas. Comes out that Rav Nosson, he's saying the same thing as Rav Nosson. Because riding a horse is not considered that the horse is doing a malacha. Because the chai is no seisatz, it's not like he's carrying the human being. And if you're going to tell me that the Chachamim don't argue with Rav Nosson only by Bevei Mechayev off, like we said, we should be sharp enough try because they're trying to get out of the grasp of the human. My Iri Ben B'Sev Rav Nosson. What do you mean Ben B'Sev? You told me even the Chachamim would be moide in that case, that it would be permitted. We're not talking about regular horses. We're talking about a horse that carried like hunting birds that you use for hunting. Yeah, in these were some kind of horse that would carry birds that would be used in aiding for hunting. Rashi says, you put live birds on the horse, nates, like hawk, I guess, a hawk. Or
Falcon.
Huh? Like a falcon, the hunting kind of birds. And they don't try to get away. They lighten themselves. So they would fulfill Chayanos Yitzam Atzma. Even Rav Nosson will say that if you tie up an animal, a live animal, well then, or a human being as well, so they cannot lighten themselves. So Rav Nosson will agree that there would be a chiyuv. These Persian horse riders, the commanding fisi doma, they're full with armor, and it's as if they're tied up. They said the same thing even by horses and even by the Persians. And they're tied up. Horses, now, that they wear because they're like haughty. They're like prideful. They have gasus haruach. That's why they don't come down from a horse, not because they're tied there. It's so they're not really tied. And where do we see examples of that? Dahu Pardashcha. There was one of these Persians, Deratach Malka Eloi. The king got angry with him, Roy plus a parsa Bakar, and he got off the horse and ran 3 parses, even with his feet. So you see that they were not necessarily fixed to their horse. Then the Mishnah said, Esames b'mita chayiv. If you carry a dead person on a bed, you'd be chayiv. V'chein kazayis b'names, even a kazayis b'names, because kazayis b'names has chashivas. And we explained that Rab Shimon said you were potter because it's a malacha she'ein tzricha legufa. You're not moving the mace outside because you're going to do something with the mace. You're trying to get rid of something that's noxious from your house. That's not a melechas machsheva, says Rab Shimon. It's not a malacha done for the goof of the object. And you don't. It's not like you need the object out. So we're going to see. There's 2 criteria. Is it good for the object? Is it good for you? Well, taking a mace out of your house is not good for either. It doesn't do anything for the mace, and it's not doing anything. It's just you're trying to get rid of it from your house. I just want to point out, for those who have some time, this Tosfos, Reb Shimon Poiter. There's machlokes Rashi and Tosfos regarding how to define Locha Shein Tzrich Legufa. We defined Rashi's pshat up until now. That if you're not benefiting the object, you're not benefiting yourself, you're just trying to rid yourself of it, that's considered Locha Shein Tzrich Legufa. And Reb Shimon says you're potter if you do such kind of malacha. I'm just going to read a little bit of Tosfos. Near Rabbeinu Yitzchak, the Malacha Shein Tzrich Legufa Kori Kisha Osa Malacha Vein Tzarech La Osa Tzorech Ke'ein Shayu Tzrichin La B'Mishkan. New definition. Every malacha that we have, the 39 malachas, are malachas that relate to a malacha that was done in the Mishkan. We carried the krushim from one place to another because that we needed the boards outside to erect the Mishkan. It's not like you want to get rid. So all of the malacha has to be similar to what we did in the Mishkan. But if you're doing it linyan acher, then it's not a malacha shetzrich legufa. Ki atzarach shayta malacha nasis b'shvilo b'Mishkan hu gufa malacha v'shorsho ulefi zeh asi kula shapir. Now this Tosfos goes through all of the Sechta Shabbos so far, the various examples that we brought of the malacha shetzrich legufa, and fits it into this new pshat. For example, hotzas hameis ain't tzarich lemeis. You just don't need for the mace outside of your house. In the Mishkan, they needed the objects that you took out from Rosh Hashanah for outside. Or, for example, tzad nachash shelo yishcha. If a person hunts a snake, so it shouldn't bite you. Eino tzarich lenachash. You're just trying to get rid of the nachash. It's not like you nachash. Why did they hunt animals for the Mishkan? They needed the chilazon for its ink. So it's not like you're chasing the chilazon away. You're hunting the chilazon because you need it. So if you hunt a snake to get rid of it, not because you need the snake, that would be considered malacha shein tzrich legufa, because it's not like the malacha that you did in the Mishkan. And I would encourage everyone to, if you have go through this Tosfos, you'll see every malacha that we described previously as malacha shein tzrich legufa, according to Rashi, Tosfos has this shot that it's not done. And throughout Shabbos, we have to keep this machlokas Rashi and Tosfos in mind regarding the definition of malacha shein tzrich legufa. Back to the Gemara. Amar Rav Yosef, Amar Rav Shimon, Lakish Poiter Rav Shimon. Af b'motzias hameis lekovro. Okay, let's say you took the mace out. Your intent was to bury it. Well, now we have one aspect, which is it benefits the mace, benefiting the object. Let's say you take an object out because you want to polish it, or in this case, the mace, you want to bury it. So it benefits the object, but here you're not really benefiting. So it's not like you need. So Reb Shimon, even if you're missing one aspect, it's enough to pater you, since here it's a benefit for the object, but not a benefit for the person. According to Reb Shimon, a malacha shetzrich legufa will have to be a benefit for the person and for the object. Then it'll be a malacha shetzrich legufa, and you'd be chayiv. So therefore, Amar Rava umoyde Reb Shimon b'mar lachpor bo. Let's say you have like a pickaxe or a shovel or a hoe to dig a ditch. The Sefer Torah likros bo, or you take out a Sefer Torah to read it, the chai, even Reb Shimon will say you're chai, because that's the person who's taking it out. It's for his benefit. Or says pshita, that's a davar pashut. The ihanami malach. If you're going to say that if you take an object out for the person's benefit, and you would consider that not a malacha shetzrich legufa, so the ihanami malacha shetzrich legufa, el malacha shetzrich legufa, Reb Shimon echim mishkachasla, then what will be an example of a malacha shetzrich? What would be an example where you'd ever have a malacha shetzrich legufa if that example didn't suffice? So the Gemara says no. Ma'u to say ma'adi ika legufa ulegufa. Maybe Reb Shimon would require both criteria: benefit for the object and benefit for the person. And where would be an example like that? You take out a hoe. The hoe doesn't have a metal piece that does the hoeing. So you're taking it out and you want to put a metal thing on it and you want to dig. So the digging is for you and fixing the hoe is for the hoe. Sefer Torah, or let's say your intent was to take the Sefer Torah out to correct it and then to read it. Well, I might have thought that you need both actions. Kamash Blundet, no. As long as you take it out and it's for the benefit of the person, that's considered a melacha shetzrich lagufa, and even Reb Shimon will say you're chai. So very important sugya that we just learned. There was a maze, a corpse, in the town of Drokra. Shor Rav Nachman by Yitzchak Lafuke leKarmelis. Rav Nachman permitted it to be carried from Rosh Hashanah to a Carmelis. Carmelis is only a Rishus midrabanon that you're not allowed to carry from Rosh Hashanah to a Carmelis. Midaraisa you can, but Chacham said it's a Carmelis. So that technically is a permitted space, Minat Torah. So Rav Nachman permitted you to move the mace there, but not to move it to Rosh Hashanah. He must be passed like Rav Shimon, that he allows you to do it because it's a melacha shetzrich legufa, because all you want to do is get rid of the mace. However, Rav Shimon said potter, but potter means potter avalosser. Aimer to potter Rav Shimon chiyuv chatas, but he said Rabbanon miya'ika. But there's still a chiyuv d'Rabbanon. Why did Rav Nachman, even if he held like Rav Shimon, allow him to do it? Omer le Elohim, the Isles of Bayat, Afil Rabbi Yehuda Shari. But to a Carmelist, it's nothing to do with Rav Shimon, because even Rabbi Yehuda would permit the mi kamina l'rishus harabim, the Carmelist kamina. Remember, Rabbi Yehuda is the one that says melacha she'en tzrich legufa is also chai. So here, everyone agrees you could take it to a Carmelist. You don't have to, even Rabbi Yehuda would. Why? Because of a different principle. Let's say you want to move the mace out of the sun. So you move it to a Carmelist because it's covered labrias. Covered labrias, you can violate any rabbinic. When it says lo taseh shabbat, it doesn't mean a chiyuv d'oraisa. It's only a chiyuv d'rabbanan. And since Carmelist is only chiyuv d'rabbanan, covered labrias doiches it. There's no example where covered abrias, for example, if you're wearing shatnez out in the street, you're not allowed to take it off because of your covet, because you'd have to take it off because you can't be wearing shatnez. It's not covered. Shatnez is doraisa. So covered abrias will not be doicha a real loisase. The losase in Torah here, the Rishonim explain, is the losase of losasur. Because the Chachamim get their power from the pasuk of Lo Sasur. Lo Sasur, Yaminu small. Whatever they tell you, you have to go right and left. Tanan Osam, HaToilish Simone Tuma, the Hichva Michya. You have a Baharis, you have a Nega. And you're supposed to wait for the Kohen to look at the hairs to see whether or not they turn white and they declare it tummy, or whether the wound is healed. And you remove the simoni, oivr b'losase. The Torah says, Hishamer b'negat saras. Be careful, watch negat saras. You're not allowed to cut it off. Now, for example, let's say there's a saras on the foreskin. By Yom HaShmini, you're allowed to violate. The asay of Mila is doicha the lot asay of cutting off the bahiras. But by regular cases, you're not allowed to cut it off. Itmar. Achas mishtayim. Everybody agrees that you're chayiv. But because you need to leave at least two hairs for the kohen, because if 2 hairs are white, it's tamei. Now you had 2 hairs, you removed 1. Well, the kohen can't check it anymore, so you violated the law. You get malchus. But let's say there were 3 hairs, and you removed 1 of them. There's still 2 hairs. So that's a machlokas. Rav Nachman Amar Chayiv. Rav Nachman says you're chayiv. Rav Sheshes Amar Potter. Now why? Rav Nachman Amar Chayiv. Ahanima. His act of removing 1 hair still was effective. Let's say one of them fell off. Azalatuma. You would create a situation where the tumah goes away. So he did do something. Rav Sheshes Amar Potter because Hashtamias Hayasalatuma. Listen. Right now, at this moment, there's 2 hairs left. If the coin shows up to check it, you can check it. So we don't care that maybe it'll fall off. Where do I see this? It's not. Our case, in our Mishnah, if you carry a kazayis min hameis, it's a halachic significance. You're chayiv for carrying. Hachatzi zayis potter. Implied if you carried a chatzi zayis, you'd be potter. Freit gemor about Tanya chatzi zayis chayiv. And what's this machlokes? My love, how did Tanya chayiv the opik chatzi zayis mikazayis? When he carried a half a kazayis from a kazayis, you ruined. You don't have a halachically significant thing anymore. But v'hadet nan potter the opik chatzi zayis mikazayis umechza. You started off with like half, 1.5, and you removed a half. You still left the kazayis. But Rav Nachman will say, "Aidi v'aidi chayiv." Hadid nan potter the opik chatzi zayis mace gadol. He left a big mace, so there would be no shiloh that there would be a mace left over. Mishnah. Anoitel tzipor of zubazu. Person cuts his fingernails, one fingernail with the other fingernail, or he bites them. Obishinav. So we're talking about, are these normal ways of cutting your nails? Most people use scissors. V'chein saro, if he cut his hair with his hands, with his nails. V'chein svam, or his mustache. V'chein zakana, v'chein agodelas. Or you braid your hair. But I guess you do it with your hand instead of with a kli. V'chein akocheles, v'chein aposekes. You put makeup on, that's kocheles. Posekes is like rouge. So Rabbi Eliezer mechayev. Rabbi Eliezer says you're going to still be chayev. Chachamim oisru mishum shvus. Chachamim say it's only osru midrabanan. Amar Rabbi Eliezer, the Amoira Rabbi Eliezer, says this machlokes between Rabbi Eliezer Agadol, Rabbi Eliezer Horkanes, and the Chachamim is beyond that. If you do it with your hand, then Rabbi Eliezer says you're still chayiv. According to the Chachamim, you're potter because it's like kila achar yad. You did it in an unusual way. Aval b'kli chayiv. But everybody would hold that if you used a kli, you'd be chayiv. Frankly, more pshita zuba zutnad says a nail with a nail is potter. Now to say rabbanim b'kli nami potter. Maybe the Chachamim will say that if you do it with a kli, you'd be potter. You don't want this nail. Now, normally when you cut something, it's because you want what you're cutting. Here, you just want to get rid of the nail. So the Chachamim will potter. Like when you cut the wool off of a sheep, you want the wool. Here, you're not cutting your nails because you want the nails. So, Ma'arasem Rabbanan B'Kli Nami Patri, because it's like a malacha she'entrich lagufa. Ba'adik Tani Zubazu, to show you how far Rabbi Eliezer goes, to say you're chayiv even on that. Kamash Malon, that no. We have to see the machlokas this way as well. This machlokas is when he cuts his own nails. But if he's doing it to another person, everyone's going to hold it's potter. Pshita, it says Siporn up to none. So Ma'am says Rav Eliezer Chaver Nami Mechayev. Maybe Rav Eliezer will say you're chayiv if you do it for your friend. Badi Tani Siporn of the Rabbanon, that even his own nails he can do. Kamash Malon, that it is a chiddush. You can't really do it when you cut somebody else's nail, says Rashi. You can't really do it professionally good. So it's considered like a kila'achar yad. And then the Mishnah said, "V'chein sa'aru," the same thing by hair. Ta'anoitel molo piazug, you cut a scissors worth, chayiv. Kama molo piazug, amidu shtayim, 2 hairs. I v'hatanya of la korcha shtayim. So, for example, you're not allowed to cut your hair in avelis for a mace. So this din of shtayim is for that din, not for Shabbos. It means both for Shabbos, cutting 2 hairs, and if you cut 2 hairs in morning, you'd be over the lav of, don't make a korcha lameis. Tanya ma'achi, anolo piazug b'Shabbos chayiv, kamalom piazug shtayim, 2 hairs. Rav Eliezer omer achas. He says, Rav Eliezer says even 1 hair. Let's say you are removing white hairs from your beard. So even 1 hair will make you chayiv. If you achas chayiv. The dover zeh, it's not chayiv because of Shabbos. It's also af b'chol osir. It's another din mishum shenem lo yilbash gever sim lasisha. It's like the love of dyeing your hair. You're not allowed to do that because it's like dressing up like a woman. It's like putting on makeup. So cutting, white hairs out of your beard you wouldn't be able to do it during the week either because of the aver of lo yilbash gever sim lasisha. Tanya Lozer Omer Siporin Shapirish Ruba, a fingernail that is sort of the majority of it is coming off. The tzitzin Shapirish, or the pieces of skin near that's hanging, majority is off. So scraping it off biyad mutter on Shabbos, bekli chayav chatas. If you do it with a kli, you're chayav. Me committed to bekli chayav chatas biyad mutter. I mean, usually, if the kli is chayav chatas, biyad would be potter of a loser. So hachi kamer, pirshu ruban, if the majority has been separated already, biyad mutter bekli potter of a loser. You can even do bekli. There's no chiyuv chatas, so that's why biyad mutter. Lo pirshu ruban, if they're not detached, majority biyad potter of a loser, because it's kilachar yad. It's not it's a shinui. Bekli chayiv chatas. On Rav Yehuda, Rav Shimon ben Elazar. Shulchan Aruch says nails, v'chein ritzuas or dakos, shapirshim v'komon klapping mala mutter meikra din litlon biyad. Divrei Rabbi Raisa, v'ma'achar shenechlon v'forshim ma perish klapping mala also latzos b'chol. You can't do it with your hand either. Mainly because we don't know, we're not expert at what's considered that it's separated or not separated. And because it explains the Gemara, it's like the nail is bent upwards, almost always causing him pain. Then the Gemara Mishnah said, "V'chena godelis." Godelis was like braiding your hair. Kocheles, painting your eyes. Poskeses, putting makeup. What's the chiyuv? Why are these things mechayev? Shumai mechayev. Amar Vavin Amar Vis Rab Chanina. Goydel braiding is mishum oiregas weaving. Kocheles, painting your eyes. Mishum koseves, like writing. Pokeses is mishum tova. Means weaving. They would use some kind of thread to put the rouge on their face, and therefore some kind of a veira derech ariga. So on Rabbanan Kamed Rabavo v'chi derech ariga b'kach. I understand. Braiding your hair. What kind of weaving is that? V'chi derech ksiva b'kach. V'chi derech tvia b'kach. Tvia is like spinning. It's not tvia. It's not ksiva. It's not ariga. And on Rabbanan the didim mivishlam minei Rav Yosef Rav Chanina that koschelas mishum tzovas. It's like painting. Godas bokeses mishum bona. Braiding and putting this rouge on is like binyan. What kind of binyan? We'll have to wait till tomorrow to figure that out. So tomorrow, regular time, 8 o'clock.